Kimberly Jentzen, and I'm excited to bring you an interview I did with Suzanne Lyons. She started Flash Forward. She's a producer. She's produced tons of stuff. She has even bigger projects happening now. And her story is very compelling, and I hope you're as inspired as my class was. Let's start with where you are now and what you're doing.
What I've done recently, not recently, but like in the last 10 years, is I've done 9 films, just to kind of give you a sense of it all. I produced 9 films. I'm great at, I think, kind of raising the money, putting people together, getting actors, doing a lot of that kind of stuff. And I'm really active in all those roles. And done all kinds of genres too. My first one was romantic comedy, and then right into a kind of a suspense drama, and then a really intense family drama, and then a family comedy, and then a bunch of horror films, which were probably my favorites. The whole reason I love doing this work, and for all of us I think hopefully, is because we allow people that time to escape from life. And I'm a big lover of life, as you know. I mean, I'm all about joy and fun and having fun. But at the same time, it's so nice to go to the cinema or to put on the the TV or whatever and just be in another world, just be like transported to another world for a little while. And so for me, the more ridiculous and fun it is sometimes, the more fun I'm having. So when it came to doing Candy Stripers, which are about aliens come down and take over the Candy Stripers in the hospital and they're hell-bent on breeding. That log line alone, I want to, make the movie. So it was just kind of fun. So I really enjoyed that. And then I went on, the last year and a half ago, I did another family film. So it just depends, I guess, on my mood. It's like, it's all different kinds of genres I really like. So that's what I've done the last 9 years. And they've all been anywhere from 200,000 to 10 million, a real range. And some that are really, phenomenal, like with big actors like Naomi Watts and Alfred Molina and Chris Walken and Brenda Blethyn or James Caan and Dean Cain, Pete Fonda, some really phenomenal actors. And others like the horror films where they're 200,000 and we can just have fun and work with our friends in town and shoot here in LA and just kind of have some fun with it and be more light about it.
Now tell me about your beginning.
Okay.
How you got into this, what motivated you, and why are you passionate about filmmaking in general?
I think, if you went back really far, I'd have to say you could go, if I went back like really far, to be really honest with you, it probably goes back, I think I was 7 or 8, and I was watching, we got to go to the cinema. I'm from a tiny, tiny town in Canada, way in the country, and to get to and you could walk up, it only was about 2 miles to get to the town and across the bridge, or ferry boat. In those days there was no bridge, but so we go to this little cinema in Chatham, New Brunswick in Canada, and not every Saturday, but in the summer times, we could go, and it was 20 cents, and then usually at 5 cents for your treat. I know you're thinking, how old is this woman? I know exactly what you're thinking. I've lost you all now. Come on back, okay? And anyways, one of these Saturdays that my cousin Rosemary and I went was Sword in the Stone. And I was beyond excited. When he was pulling that sword out of the stone, I was gone, I was there, wow. I was on the screen, I was not me anymore. You know what I mean? There was no Suzanne, there was no identity, there was nothing there except just pure joy of being part of that other world. And some of it for me maybe was because I did spend most of my childhood, a lot of the childhood in hospitals. I lived a lot in the hospital. When I was little, right from 2 years old to 12.
Can I ask why?
Then I had like a benign tumor behind my eye, which became malignant when I started to go through puberty, which happens a lot for children with benign tumors. But it kept growing, about every 6 months I'd be in the hospital. And then when I was 11, I lived there, for 7 months. Wow. But, oh no, it was fun, totally fun. Oh no, you get presents. Lots and lots of, I was there over Christmas.
Amazing attitude.
Oh, I was there over Christmas.
Wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Oh no, I was really focused very much on the gifts. Actually, it took me 3 days to open my Christmas presents, you know, because there was no family. We were 600 miles from the hospital where we lived in the country. And, but anyway, so I actually had a lot of fun. But actually, those early years of the hospital was scary for a little person, you know, because when you go to the OR back then, it was quite a scary, you know, procedure to be in surgery so much. I had like 16 surgeries by the time I was 11. So that's a lot of, and that scared me. You know, I was not able to use anything green probably till I was in my 30s because of the color of the gowns, you know, in surgery.
You're amazing. Imagine how you turned it into a positive is just speaks so much about you. I mean, it's amazing to me and miraculous and wonderful.
Well, thanks. And I do think my parents had something to do with it. I mean, but everything became an adventure too. It's like to go to the hospital. First of all, it was the first hospital where I had the little surgeries was about 150 miles away, right? So to go on that little trip and see my cousin who lived there was such a treat. So that when and you'd have a sundae, which we'd never had. There was no place to get a sundae, you know, like a ice cream with stuff on top, you know, and or a banana split, you know, the access to that kind of treat, you know, or store-bought cookies was the other thing, because my aunt in St. John had store-bought cookies, you know, which we'd had no access to, and so that was I mean, I was excited to go to the hospital because I knew I was going to spend time, you know, afterwards with my cousin. And I mean, but then my parents also took on a great attitude about it too. And the doctor, when they had to drive to St. John for the news, you know, when the doctor said they had to both come down to be in the office with him when he gave them the news about it turning from benign to malignant. They came out of the office. I can't, and I had only 6 months, believe me, 3 to 6 months. You went up, you know, in puberty at that point.
Wow.
There was no chemo. It's, you know, it's like you just go home and enjoy as much of these 3 to 6 months as you can. The cells are multiplying so fast during puberty that the cancer is just spreading with wildfire, you know. So anyways, so for my mom and dad, and I'm in the waiting room, for them to come out, because all I could think of was we were going for the sundae. We were picking up Mary Lee, my cousin, and then to go for the sundae, or the banana split. I had a choice. You know, it's a very big deal. And so that's all I was massively obsessed about. And so when they came out, they could have been in tears or whatever, but it was like, not only are we going for the sundae, guess what the doctor said? We're going to the big hospital. You're going to go, because nobody in my family had been on a train, and that was like a very big deal to go onto a train, and an overnight train, and play bingo. I won a little screwdriver set that I got from my dad for Christmas. I mean, it was like very exciting. Because it was a hospital for patients who were very, very, very ill, obviously, we got to wear our clothes. And also the nurses were, you know, fun in terms of giving us jobs to do. So I thought I had jobs. When I got there, I thought I had to work because I had so many beds to work with. I had to feed the babies in the morning at 10, hold them when the parents left at visiting hours in the afternoons, you know. It never occurred to me for a minute that there was 3 to 6 months, because nobody had told me that. My mom was very responsible for my survival, because when I did arrive there, the doctor said to my mom, it was a university as well, so it was many doctors. Like there was like 16 doctors, my doctor, Dr. Nichols, but then many other doctors were part of the progress, and there was no cure. I was only the third of this particular kind of rare cancer, and nobody was there on the planet, you know. So to give any past history of survival, you know. So so it was basically about how do we get through this time. And so Mom said to them, but here's the thing back then, and I think it's changed now, is parents had to sign in order for the kids to go into the OR, right? This is a woman who had had her 9th baby just a few months prior. At 40, she had her 9th child. And so here she was, never been out of my little tiny town, or village actually. And here she's saying to Dr. Nichols in Montreal, we're in this big city, right? I don't like this attitude. I'm not signing. And he said, but we have to go to the OR tomorrow. I mean, we have to go. I mean, it's spreading, and, you know, we have to go in the OR. And she said, what are the chances? Well, 90-10, because, you know, the chances of getting it all are almost impossible, you know. And so she said, I'm not signing. I'm not going there, not with that, you know. So she decided to just check out each floor of the hospital on her own. And she came across a floor called radiology. And she said to them, have you ever worked in radiation with this particular cancer? And they said, no, it's too rare. And she said, what do you think then? Well, they said, hell, it could be 50-50, right? She said, I love your attitude. I'm going to sign up with you. So she signed up. So we signed up for that. So I stayed for so I had 3 months of radiation. You know what I mean? Like it was called cobalt back then.
Of course.
And I had 3 minutes and 12 seconds. I remember distinctly. And went down every day. And that's why I'd stay over Christmas because when you start it, you have to do the whole 3 months.
Right.
So I had the maximum for human beings, by the way. And anyways, so at the end of it, then I got to go home for a week and then back up. And for the surgery, and Dr. Nichols, when he came out of the elevator after the surgery, and I'm in the recovery, and my mom is standing there, and he said, Mrs. Lyons, and he didn't look up. She said he had his head down a wee bit, and he said, Mrs. Lyons, if we hadn't listened to you back last fall, I just want to tell you, Susie wouldn't be with us today.
Wow.
And she patted him on the back and she said, Dr. Nichols, let's just chalk it up to Mother's Intuition. So that's what the movie would be called, would be Mother's Intuition.
I love it.
Thank you.
Like
For more MTT videos, please visit the archives. And I also want to thank Suzanne Lyons for sharing so candidly her story and being an inspiration for us all. And please check out Suzanne Lyons' book, Indie Film Producing, as well as my book, Acting with Impact, and my Life Emotion cards. All of them are available at Amazon.com as well as Samuel French Bookstore.